Well, this is going to... Well, this is going to be a very interesting video. Today I actually wanted to talk a little bit about G Gundam while playing Gundam Versus. And today what I wanted to do was actually basically critique a YouTuber by the name of Professor Otaku, D2. Now, even though this video that he made was over, it's a year old, it still rubs a bunch of people the wrong way. And I think the reason why it rubs a lot of people the wrong way is the fact that there isn't exactly really any facts in this video. It's all opinion based on me, and hey, you should hate this because I hate it. So today, I thought it would be fun to play Gundam Versus and talk about why he hates the video. Hold on, let me pull it up here. Why G Gundam sucks. Actually, anime editorial. Okay, so first off, I've watched this video, and a lot of G Gundam fans have as well. And let me tell you something. The director Imagawa, his point, his purpose to make a Gundam show was not for it to be the same as, like, the regular Gundam shows, of it being about war, of it being about having a little bit of drama between some of the characters and all of that. Nonetheless, there is some drama between some of the characters, but my main point is Imagawa knows that he does not want it to be the same thing as, well, a regular Gundam show. He actually wants it to be a different kind of Gundam show. And the fact that Professor Otaku or whatever can't exactly, think before he speaks, with Gundam, you really need to know your stuff. And the thing is that Professor Otaku is the kind of person who has no really good points in his video. Sure, he goes and he points out that some of it hasn't aged well at all, which that's why there are the Blu-ray versions. But he also goes out to saying that there is, it's not good. Now, hold on. The biggest point that I really hate, or the big problem that I really hate about this video, is the fact that he says that it is not a Gundam show, when in fact it is. Most Gundam fans know that this isn't in the main timeline, this is in the Century timeline of Gundam. Most Gundam fans know that this isn't to be taken seriously. They like it because it is different, and that's the whole point of G Gundam. It's supposed to be different, And the fact that he doesn't know that really shows in the video. Another thing that he doesn't really know exactly is he has not really taken into account to watch Did You Know Anime's video on Did You Know G Gundam, which has many points which he has actually gone out of his way to avoid. Why? I have no idea, because he thinks that if he doesn't put those points in his videos, then they just don't exist anymore, which in fact they do. And we already know that G Gundam and Imagawa's inspiration for it was Star Trek. We also have more evidence with Did You Know Anime talking about how some of karate films were also based on it. And yet, it seems like Professor Otaku says that he knows his shit, and says that he knows what he's talking about. But here's the thing. If he does, then why is it that wasn't mentioned in his video? The reason why it wasn't mentioned in his video is because he doesn't exactly want to point out true facts. Like the fact how he says, which is false, that Imagawa is not a real robot director. Hold up. Whoa, wait a minute. You were saying a person who's lived in Japan, who knows the otaku culture, and who's actually worked with Tomino himself, Tomino, the legend himself, is not a real robot director. Are you kidding me right now? How can you say that? So what I want to know, Professor Otaku, is what is a real robot director in your opinion? Is it somebody who makes iRobot? Is it somebody who, like, what is it? I want to know. Because if that's not a real robot director, then I don't know what is. Imagawa has worked on things like Giant Robo, Tetrizin 04 coming out in 2004, which came out in 2004, excuse me, and Mazinger Z. He's also worked on a couple of other things which I cannot for the life of me remember, but my point is, when somebody has grown up with the culture and actually is an animator and has, let's say, enough references to actually call himself out as a real robot director, you don't really get a say in that, And that's what really bugs me. You have no idea what you're talking about. You're saying that somebody who has worked and most of their career in animation with robots is not a real robot director. Are you kidding me right now? What? Okay. This is really, really stupid. This is like saying George Lucas has made Star Wars films, but he's not a sci-fi director. Are you kidding me? He is. The dude's worked on Star Wars. There's like 9 films. And there's probably going to be more, but they aren't going to be made by him because, well, he's sold it to Disney, blah blah blah. Anyway, the reason why I'm making this video and all of that, or doing this live stream, as you may call it, is because I'm calling out Professor Otaku in his bullshit video, and I don't really care what he thinks, and he probably won't even be smart enough to watch it through. He'll probably just dislike this video, and not even have anything to say. Now, he has some good points, or some good points that should be recognized. One of them that he tries to call out, and miserably pulls out, is the fact that G Gundam is racist. Okay, where do I go to begin with this, man? First off, he pulled out some pictures and all of that and stuff of some of the designs of what he is calling how G Gundam is racist. He pulled out the Mexican Gundam, which, has a sombrero and a mustache and has a little bit of colors referencing, well, the kind of Mexican stereotype. I believe he also pulled out the Neo Mexico, which was a big sombrero, and it was kind of like a colony, in space, which resembled a big sombrero. What did I think about this? I thought it was a low blow. I thought it was very pathetic. First off, oh my god. Buddy, we literally have a video that is, we literally have a movie, a Marvel movie that is called Black Panther. It takes place in Africa, and it has a wide variety of African Americans, go figure. And yet, nobody is complaining and saying, oh, it's really racist because, there's the name Black Panther, and there's a black guy who's doing it, and yet nobody in the world will be able to be this Halloween, will be able to be a Halloween costume for him because they're not black. So, how is that bad and all of that and stuff? Look, nobody cares. Nobody gave a shit. Nobody gives a shit. And the thing is that there are articles out there. I've seen some articles of some people saying, is G Gundam racist and all of that. No, it's not. Here's my point on it. The reason why G Gundam is not racist is the fact that, Imagawa did something new. He wanted to do something new to the Gundam franchise. He didn't want to do the same thing of war and make the same designs. So he bent the rules and went to a different target of originality. He looked at different cultures and how people dress. And it shows. It shows with the Canada Gundam, it shows with the France Gundam, it shows with the Gundam that Neo America with the boxing gloves and all that. It shows with each and every one. So, and I've never heard anybody say it's the Canadian Gundam is racist. Yet I have heard some people say that some of the Gundams in there are racially slurred to different kinds of cultures and different kinds of people. But at the end of the day, they don't really seem to care. And the fact of that is because he was trying to look for originality, and he did. He made Gundams based off of different regions, and he took those stereotypes and put a little bit onto them. Yes, there is an African American Gundam that has what is like a zebra, like kind of clothing and all of that, and a spear. I don't really find that to be racist, to be honest, because it's Neo-Africa and all of that and stuff. Nobody, I don't think, has said or gotten angry because of that. Nobody has gotten angry because of that. And that is the weakest opinion on his video that I also think should be pointed out in mine, is the fact that he's trying so hard to find points in this series that he doesn't like. There's too much shouting in G Gundam. Yeah, no shit. There's so much shouting in fucking what? Dragon Ball Z. Yeah, I don't hear you complaining and bitching about that. He also claims to say that he has a BA in fucking the Japanese culture, but I fail to see that miserably, because in some of the videos that he's made, you can tell that he is talking out of his ass constantly and has no idea what he is talking about. I don't think that he has a BA in the Japanese culture at all. His videos are there, but at the end of the day, they're more nostalgia critic than angry video game nerd. And that's just my, basically my opinion and the fact of it. A bunch of people are hating on this guy and calling him out because, well, G Gundam isn't supposed to be the same. Like, the whole point of it is supposed to be different, man. Like, Imagawa wasn't trying. Like, I can't stress enough by saying this. He was not trying to do the same thing as Tomino. He was trying to do something completely different, and he succeeded. Look, there is a video out there that's called Did You Know Anime G Gundam? And it says on one of the parts there that some people did not think that G Gundam was great at all. They thought that the whole thing of the planet Earth being surrounded by kind of like a big boxing ring was stupid. But he went through it because that was his original idea, and he was thinking out the box. He wasn't doing something traditional and something of the same thing. He also, the video also goes out to say that, well, if you keep doing the same thing constantly and constantly keep doing the same thing of a franchise, eventually it degrades to nothing. G Gundam succeeded. It did. And it shows its fans. If it didn't succeed, then there wouldn't be fucking Blu-ray collections out there that people are buying. So, who's the joke on right now? The fact that that video that you made, Professor Otaku, has 500 dislikes? Or the fact that people are calling you out and you can't, back up your claims in your own ass? Because at the end of the day, you can't, dude. Look, what really pissed off a bunch of people was the fact how he goes to say that what was it? He went to say that Gundam Build Fighters is better than fucking G Gundam. Dude, there are so many references if you go on Reddit and look at Build Fighters Gundam references, and it shows shots to shots of some of G Gundam. So who are we kidding here, man? If you don't like that, if you like that, but you don't like G Gundam, there's something wrong with you. Look, I'm not a huge Gundam fanboy when it comes to it. I like G Gundam. I think it's a great franchise, but it wasn't what started me. What started me was the original, and Gundam Wing. G Gundam was something that I rented one time when I was in high school and I was a junior. I liked it because it was different and silly. I liked it because it gave something different to the franchise. It did something different, and it made it expand upon other people and directors wanting to do their own take on the Gundam franchise than just it being war and about political nonsense and all of that and stuff. That's not to say that I don't hate the main timeline of Gundam, because guess what? I do. I just think that there should always be originality in a franchise. You should always do something different. Don't let somebody like a zealot of a whose name is like Professor Otaku tell you different, dude. Look, at the end of the day, the problem that I have with this video that he made is the fact that he has the decency to say that it's not a real Gundam show, and that a director who went out of his way to go to college and had his own dream of making his own design for a Gundam, which he did, isn't supposedly a real robot director because of your opinion. How big is your ego, dude? I want to know how big is your ego, because you're not an animator at all. You're not a director, and you definitely aren't Japanese, you know? You know nothing about the Japanese culture, okay? And to be honest, excuse me, I don't exactly think the video means anything, you know? I don't exactly think the video is purposely good. I mean, it's horribly, horribly written. He's claimed that he has done YouTube for 10 years, and maybe his channel speaks for himself of having that proof. But let me tell you, when it comes to the arguing and all that, there are so many comments that I have seen that have legitimate points and counter-arguments and all that, and yet he ignores them because, why? He doesn't want to deal with the fact that maybe he is actually wrong. This video that he has made is so bad, and when I mean it is bad, nobody on YouTube has said, oh, G Gundam is bad. Nobody. But when you search on YouTube, G Gundam is bad, guess what you get? You get his video. You don't get anything else. And that's because nobody else thinks that, man. There may be some fans who think that it's bad. There may be some fans who it's not their cup of tea. But at the end of the day, these points that you're making are half-assed and all that. You're speaking through out your ass. And the only thing that I can really say about Professor Otaku is that some of his videos are actually decent. I like hearing his opinions about some of his stuff in the Mecha franchise, and I do like hearing some of his opinions about other anime. But what it comes down to is, my god, man, you definitely got the backlash on the G Gundam fans, because there are some legitimate people who are just giving you point after point after point, and what do? You ignore it because your ego is so far up your ass. You have no idea what you're talking about, and yet you can't back up any of these fucking claims. It's just hilarious. I want to know what is a real... I want your opinion on what a real robot director is. If it's a super robot show, then let it be a fucking super robot show, dude. Like, nobody really cares. I mean, seriously, you know, you'd think that if you have 500 dislikes on a video, then you would obviously think differently about your points, and yet you don't. Instead, you say, oh, no, dude, they're all wrong and I'm right. Buddy, you're not at all, because I've looked at some of the forums on the internet, I've talked to people on Reddit. Nobody has said G Gundam is the worst franchise. It is the worst series in the franchise. I've never heard anybody say that. That's horseshit. That's complete horseshit. Next, he's gonna say Hideaki Anno isn't a real robot director and all of that because he made Evangelion and it sold 1.8 million US dollars in the West. Because I have no clue. I have no fucking clue. No, he didn't say that, but, and he probably, I don't know what he thinks about Anno. I don't want to hear his opinion on Anno because he has no idea about the Japanese culture and all of that. I will give it to him about this. Some of his opinions are legitimate a little bit about the video, about how it hasn't aged well. But at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure that's why they made a fucking Blu-ray, buddy. That way they could, you know, actually make it a lot more better than how it is. You know, because there are the DVDs that you can still get, but there are also the Blu-rays that you can obtain now. And I don't think Bandai would have went out of their way to create a Blu-ray collection if G Gundam fans, if there weren't so many G Gundam fans. And guess what? There are. So bottom line, guys, don't let... I will link a video... I will link his video down below in the description. But I'm asking you guys, please, don't let somebody brainwash you into having weak opinions on a franchise that was made in 1994 when the animation industry was literally fucking changing. And we know this, dude, because literally Toy Story was out in 1995. And once that came out, Pixar was on the map for what kind of studio is this. Not only that, but when that happened, people switched over to 3D animation and had to go to school and had to learn how to do computer animation instead of doing traditional animation. So, no, dude, you're totally wrong. And we see that now. There are Gundam shows that have 3D animation in them. Evangelion and the Rebuild films has fucking 3D animation in there. Anno literally took a screenshot of one of his coworkers working in Blender and Maya Autodesk. So yeah, dude, everybody is turning to the 3D and all that and stuff. But for you to say that it's bad and it hasn't aged well and all that, when basically the turning point of animation is changing, it's just complete and utter horseshit. It's horrible. It's a horrible video. And doesn't bring up any history at all, except Imagawa, which is completely insulted in that video. I mean, how big does your ego have to be up your ass to say that he's not a real robot director when this guy has gone to fucking college? You know? It's insane. And not only that, I mean, he has the proof to prove it to other people by working with fucking Tomino, you know? I'm pretty sure anybody would want to work with Tomino if they had the fucking opportunity. But nonetheless, it's kind of crazy to think that there are some people out there who really want to manipulate and make shitty videos to try to brainwash people into thinking that it is a really shitty video, when in reality it's not at all. Well, I mean the franchise of G Gundam. He has been called out multiple times on Twitter for G Gundam, and yet he has his horse. He has his head up a horse's ass and all that and stuff, and has no idea how to deal with it. I've seen some of his tweets responding to some of the hate. He's done it very poorly towards the point where people don't take him seriously anymore. And it really shows on his Twitter, because not only did he not take it seriously, he is making a joke about it and all that and stuff. As if, like, this whole video was just a joke, you know? Like, he's not taking it seriously, like, it was just a joke, guys. Like, you know, just don't roast me. You know, don't fucking roast me, please. Please, don't roast me. Bullshit, man. I'm calling you out on that video because nobody is taking you seriously, man. I don't take you seriously, and to be honest, there are some times when I don't exactly feel as if you are a real Gundam fan. You're calling out people, he has other videos as well, calling out other people saying stupid shit like, well, these designs on the Gundams are horrific, or I don't like this design on the Gundam because I don't like it. If you... Well, but what is your reason? Like, what is your reason for not liking some of the designs? Because the whole purpose of Gundam is, you know, a huge circle. The toys promote the show, and the show promotes the toy. That's always how it's been about Gundam. You don't know that, obviously. And yeah, I think you pointed that out in your video. I'm not really sure because your video is shit, but at the end of the day, I can't take it seriously at all, because it doesn't really feel as if you know how much people like this franchise and give it a pass. They don't give it a pass because of the design. They give G Gundam a pass because of not only the story, but the originality and the fact that it, at that time, it's just for fun, you know? It's basically taking, you know, original ideas and all that and doing something completely different. Why is this so hard, man? I don't understand why this is so hard for people such as, like, zealots, like fucking Professor Otaku to understand. But then again, he's not an artist, he's a fucking moron, and at the end of the day, that's just how it is. You know, I don't necessarily take the guy seriously on some of his stuff. Some of his things of his videos, I agree with, but it's very rare that I do. And the reason why I don't take his stuff very seriously is because it doesn't really seem as if he knows what he's talking about in some of the videos. There are moments when I wonder if he actually is alright. Like, you need to write a script. You need to know your facts. And you don't. And it seems as if people on Twitter also agree with me. They don't think that you know your shit. And you don't, dude. You really have to do your shit. I mean, Build Fighters, you know, is basically a celebration of not only Gundam, but G Gundam as well. There are people that have done screenshots with their references, and yet you ignore that. You totally don't acknowledge that in your video because you don't want to pull out the straight facts, and you'd rather have people make videos about you, talking about the flaws, than actually calling you out. Well, than actually putting that in your video and stuff. And that's why people like me are calling you out, because you have no idea what you're talking about. Dude, get the stick up your ass. That's what you need to do. You really need to realize that. I'm not telling you that you need to like G Gundam, because if you don't like it, that's your issue then. But the biggest issue that I have in this video is when you disrespect somebody who is in a different culture, when you have known nothing about it, and you say that he's not a real robot director. That is what pisses me off. Somebody who's taken the time to actually have a passion for animation and actually done it and all that and stuff, has made their own designs, has gone out of their way to search for originality, to make something fun for everybody, and to be creative. And yet, it's not okay. It's not good enough, I guess. Because... why? Because there's so much screaming in it? Because it doesn't follow the traditional Blender Gundam formula that you have to follow? Dude, if we didn't have people doing different sort of things, we wouldn't have Evangelion. You know? Ano basically took all of the things that he was a fucking fan of. Like, I can name 5 Godzilla. You know, he took the original ideas from that. He took the original ideas from Ultraman. He took the original ideas from Kamen Rider. He took the original ideas from 2001's Space Odyssey. He took the original ideas from Mobile Suit Gundam. And he wrapped it all in his own mental state of depression, because the otaku culture is like that at times, and he basically made a franchise of something different. What is my purpose in life if I'm used as a tool for destruction? Why do I do this and all of that? But that's besides the point. My point is, you don't know exactly what you're talking about, man. And it frustrates the shit out of me. That's why. And that's why I'm making this video today. Because people like Otaku, Professor Otaku, need to know why they're wrong, and need at least a video or two to call them out. There is a video out there that has called him out. I'm well aware of that, but guess what? I wanted to make this video to call him out on why Imagawa is a fucking robot director, and always will be. You cannot deny the fact that he has worked with a robot director like Tomino, and has worked and has his whole career sheet with basically all giant robot designs, and yet you somehow, that crosses your mind of he's not a real robot director because you can't actually confirm and call out the facts of why that is. Instead, you just say he's not. And that's what's so bad about the video. There's no reason you don't give an explanation on why he isn't. You just say he's not because he is not a real robot director. That's all you say. If anybody is watching this, please, please, don't let people like Professor Otaku manipulate you into thinking that it is a bad robot show. Everybody has an opinion. Everybody can critique whatever the hell they want. But you yourself have to come up with a conclusion on if it is a bad robot show or not. Do I think G Gundam is a bad robot show or Gundam show? No, dude, I don't. And that's just because I know that, well, it's not really supposed to be taken seriously. It's something that's completely different and all of that, and that's completely fine, you know? I mean, it's aged well, you know? And now with the new Gundam game that we're going to be getting soon, in 2020, on PlayStation, there's going to be even more of mechas from G Gundam. So, at the end of the day, the joke's on him. It's not on me. It's on him. Because we have a person who has literally made a career and had their dream of making their own Gundam show. And it didn't fall into the pile of the dark void of ignore this Gundam show because it's horrible. In fact, it did the opposite. It showed that there can be originality into the series. It just has to be well thought out. Anyway, I'm Zeta, and that was my rant. I hope you liked the video. If you do, please leave a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. And subscribe to the channel because I will be talking more about mecha and where it is going to be going soon into the future. I'm Zeta, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.